What do you need to do to make a friend?
Like, you have to meet them really well and get to know them really well and ask if you want to be friends and wait for them to say yes.
I know we just met, but Archer, will you be my friend?
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome to Love is a Classroom, Stories of Inclusion, a podcast that aims to serve as a bridge for a more inclusive world. I'm your host, Andrew Goff. Today, I'm here with
Aubrey Hamilton. I'm 10. I'm about to be 11.
My name is Aaliyah. I'm 11 years old.
I'm Aubrey. I'm Archer's oldest sister. I'm 17.
In this episode, Archer, Aubrey, and Aaliyah, the children of Zach and Anita Hamilton, whose stories you heard in episode 2 and 3, share their experiences growing up together. Their words, particularly those of Aubrey, reinforce the positive and enduring impact of Archer's inclusion in Miss Rochelle's inclusive preschool classroom in District 51. In episode 1, Rochelle said her conversation with Archer was as good as any she had with anyone. She did not oversell. Next episode, I'm thrilled to share that I will be talking with Christy Donathan, the director of the Early Childhood Education Department in District 51. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss anything. So, Archer, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I like hockey, I like baseball, I like football, and I have a couple of favorite teams. One is the Tennessee Titans, the Nashville Predators, and the Houston Astros. I really want to go to Nashville.
Have you been in Nashville?
No, but I really want to go.
I hear you like music too.
Yeah, heavy metal or hard rock.
Your dad said that you play the drums.
I used to. I'm in choir now.
Do you have any friends in your choir?
Not any that I know.
Are you going to make friends in your choir?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you like to do with your friends?
I have a couple birthday buddies.
Birthday parties. I enjoy birthday parties too. What's your favorite thing about going to birthday parties?
I'd say the cake and the drinks and the presents.
Yeah, I like the cake best. What are your happiest experiences you've ever had with your family?
Does it have to be with my full family or just one member?
Yeah, it can be just one.
I was walking at therapy and I said I was one step closer to walking independently, and Dad pretty much cried.
Is it hard to learn to walk?
I had a walker, but that helped a little bit, but when I walk at therapy, they pretty much hold me.
Once you learn how to walk, how do you think things will be different?
If I learn how to walk really quickly, I want to be a player in the NHL, like really bad.
That would be so cool. What are some experiences you've had that have made you feel not so good emotions?
Good question. Mom was carrying me downstairs and she tripped and I fell down the stairs and I got a concussion and I had to go to the ER. And I got staples and I was bleeding really bad when I fell.
That must have been really scary.
Yeah.
Well, Archer, is there anything else you'd like me to know about you that you haven't told me?
I'm super strong and I don't give up very easily.
Great traits for a hockey player. Hi, Aaliyah. What would you like me to know about you?
I like volleyball. I'm gonna try out for volleyball.
Tell me about growing up with Archer.
Living with someone who has cerebral palsy can be difficult. For example, all of the equipment takes up a lot of space and it can be very difficult for someone to find a place to put everything. I remember the first time I was able to take Archer to the bathroom. I had been offering to help with stuff all day, so mom watched me while I took him to the bathroom so I wouldn't drop him. Archer goes to school with me, so every morning we get to eat breakfast together, and it's just a lot of fun getting to hang around with him before class and just talk, really.
Do you see him at other times of the day?
Sometimes I see him at lunch because he has the lunch before me. Sometimes I'll see him if he stays a little bit later. But I sit with him every day at breakfast, and we get to just sit there together since we don't have lunch together.
When you sit with him, is it with your friends or his friends or just the two of you?
It's usually just the two of us and his aide. Sometimes some of my friends joins us, but I like it when it's just us.
What are your happiest experiences with Archer and the family?
When we went to Universal was a lot of fun. We got to ride a lot of rides.
I've never been to Universal Studios. How long were you there?
We were there for a day, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of walking around.
And does Archer like going to Universal?
Yeah.
I really do like going to Universal, and they made a Super Mario World in it too. Super Nintendo World.
I didn't know that. All I knew was Harry Potter World because my kids love Harry Potter.
We're reading that the first book right now.
What do you think of it?
I like the Quidditch.
Is it because it's a sport?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Aaliyah, are you reading Harry Potter also?
Yeah, we're all reading it.
Are you enjoying the book so far?
It has a lot more detail.
Who reads it with you?
Usually it's just mom, me, and Archer.
We used to read it as a bedtime story because we like having bedtime stories when we go to bed. So we used to have it as a bedtime story.
Yeah, that's a good bedtime story, but it's kind of hard to go to sleep in the middle of something exciting. And I think there's a lot of exciting parts in Harry Potter.
Especially the Quidditch.
I agree. Does your mom do all the reading?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so you probably tell her just to keep reading and keep reading and keep reading.
Yes. And then she always says no.
So who likes reading more, you or Archer?
I like reading more.
So you like reading more, not just Harry Potter.
I like reading sports books, and I also like reading nonfiction books. I have this nonfiction series called Who Would Win. It's where animal fights come to life. Yeah, like great white sharks, killer whales, grizzly bears, hyenas, lions, tigers, whales. Yeah. I have a chapter series called Trapped in a Video Game. A chapter book called Raleigh Jefferson's Awesome Funny Adventure I got from the book fair at my school. And one last thing, I got the Ultimate Nintendo fan book at the book fair as well. I really like to read, and those are pretty good books.
You totally make me want to start reading books about fighting animals and go visit Universal Studios.
Yeah, and I'm totally making you want to be young again.
Aaliyah, what about experiences that have made you sad or angry or made you feel not so good emotions?
When Archer fell down the stairs, that was super scary. I was like on the couch, but then like when he fell, I was like helping him, like I was like holding him up a little bit until mom was able to get up and then hold him better. So I was helping a little bit.
Why do you think that was scary for you?
It was just scary, like seeing Archer like afraid and hurt.
Do you think you get more scared to see Archer get hurt than when you see your mom or your dad or Aubrey get hurt?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? Why?
I think it's just because he's my younger sibling, so I want to protect him more.
Do you have any other experiences that have made you feel not so good?
Oh yeah, at school, there was these kids that were like making fun of Archer because he was in a wheelchair. But I went to the counselor and I like talked to her, and then she talked to them and she like took care of it.
That must have been really hard for you to observe. How did it make you feel when you saw him being made fun of?
It made me like mad because he's in a wheelchair. It like doesn't make him less of a person. Like he still has his like interests and hobbies and like thoughts and feelings.
When you talked to the counselor, how did the counselor respond?
She said that she would talk to them, and if it happened again, she would get them in more trouble than they're already in.
Was that good for you? Did you like what the counselor had to say?
Yeah, so they wouldn't like do it again.
If you saw someone doing something like that and there was no counselor, what would you do?
I would probably either ignore them or I would say that's not okay, like you shouldn't be saying that stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine that would take a lot of courage. That'd be hard. What's the best part about being Archer's sister?
Getting to hang out with him a lot is really cool.
Hi, Aubrey. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Your family has changed over time as Aaliyah was born and then Archer was born. Do you remember how things changed?
Before Aaliyah was born, it was just like me. And once Aaliyah came, like I had a little sister, and then Archer came, and I remember like adapting from one kid to two. But then there was like special equipment and stuff that like went along with taking care of him. I just remember all of the things that we had to get in order for him to literally breathe. I remember oxygen tanks when he was a baby, and then as he got older, the oxygen tanks disappeared and other equipment appeared. He had so many things just to be able to sit and watch TV or sleep or go to the bathroom. One thing I remember after Archer was born was the automatic shift of our everyday lives. Our regular seating chairs turned to wheelchairs for him and specific eating chairs that were designed for him. Looking back now, a house without special equipment seems so strange. I grew up having to help Archer with a lot and everything that comes with it, including all the equipment. I can't picture what my world would look like without him. I remember when Archer started preschool, I was really worried he was going to get bullied for his disability. It is definitely a fear I still have because, being in high school, I know how mean kids can be. I remember Miss Rochelle very well and how quickly she became family. I think she's part of the reason I know Archer is okay at school because she made sure he was cared for and treated well. One thing I often get worried about with Archer going to school is him being judged by his chair. I think over time we've learned how to adjust and learn what things work and what things don't.
Yeah, and what's that experience like? Adjusting when things don't work.
It's a lot of like trial and error. Like we figure out what kind of, for example, shoes, like he has to wear specific shoes with his braces, and we've had to learn what shoes will fit on his braces and what shoes won't. But it's just a lot of like testing. And if it doesn't work, we'll make it better. We'll figure out what we need to change in order to help him.
Do you think that influences the way you experience your own challenges and the way you sometimes look at problems that you encounter?
There have been times where I've thought this is really hard, but then I'm like, look at Archer, he goes through so much. Like what I'm going through right now is nothing compared to what he's going through. So there's a lot of times where I think that this is like the worst possible situation. And then it's really not. And that there's definitely people who have it worse, but I'm not saying Archer has it worse at all whatsoever. He's such a cool kid. But I just think that you have to be observant of everybody and not just put yourself above all.
That sounds really hard. Do you think it's hard not to put yourself first? Are there some times where you're just like, I need me right now, but I can't?
Not really. I'm really close to like mom and dad and stuff. So if I have a problem, I'll confront them about it. But usually there's not like any big I want the attention for just a second, because mom and dad make sure all of our voices are heard and we're all appreciated and loved.
Do you feel like you get the same kind of love and attention outside of the home, especially when you're not with your family?
Yeah, I think that we're our own person, and that just because we live with Archer, who's in a wheelchair, that's not our entire personality, and there's a whole person behind.
Aaliyah talked about her friends and Archer, and she doesn't really know Archer's friends. Do you feel like you're able to connect with his friends and with her friends? And when you do you feel like other children treat Aaliyah the same way they treat Archer?
Oh yeah, for sure. I've met a couple of Archer's friends recently, and they're super sweet. Aaliyah's friends are too. I like seeing friends that I know are nice to them and that make sure that they're treated nicely.
You've probably seen people not be nice to Aaliyah and not be nice to Archer.
It's really hard because being so much older than them, I want to help them and I want to protect them from that, because bullying is not a fun thing to go through at all. And if I almost want to protect them from it at any cost, that like any way that I can. And hearing Aaliyah talk about like this girl being mean to her, I'm like, why was she being mean to you? I don't understand. And I want to protect her from that, and I want to put them in like bubble wrap and keep them safe.
Do your experiences, especially with Archer, do they impact the way you see kids at your own school?
I think for sure, yes. Growing up with Archer, I learned to appreciate everybody a lot more. I remember when I was in elementary school, there was a kid with cerebral palsy, what Archer has, and I learned to appreciate the special needs kids a lot more than I probably would have had I not grown up with Archer.
And did that impact your friendships too?
Not really. There had been times where my friends, or who I thought were my friends, would make a comment about a kid with special needs, and I would be like, no, absolutely not. We don't say this. They're just like everybody else. And they wouldn't understand why I'm so like defensive and why I protect them.
All right, I haven't really asked you the questions that I've asked everybody else. What are your happiest experiences, your memories with your family?
I think one of my many favorite memories with Archer was when Archer came to my school for a performing arts Christmas spectacular kind of thing. I had been in the hallway when Archer had arrived on his bus. I ran outside to see him because I knew he was excited to come to my school. I will never forget the face he made when he saw me run through the doors to him. I gave him the biggest hug and held his hand when he drove inside. I had to go back to class, but getting to see him and his reaction when he saw me created one of the best feelings in the world.
Do you have any other experiences?
When we got our dogs, we went to go pick them out, and after we picked them out, we had to wait a couple weeks before we got them. And one of the puppies laid on Archer's lap while we pushed him through the store to go get like collars and all that. And then Aaliyah held the other one, and it was so fun watching Archer fall in love with the dog.
What experiences have made you feel sad or angry or frustrated?
I've been in choir for so long, so I've had them, like Archer and everybody come to the concerts. I've had people like point out Archer and be like, oh, that kid's in a wheelchair. And I'm like, that's my brother. And it would be like making fun of both of us. And I hate when people make fun of him because they don't know him. They just see his appearance and how he is, not who he is.
Aubrey, what do you love most about your brother and sister?
Archer's super smart. He's like really smart, probably smarter than me. He's really funny. Once he starts joking and he gets all of us to joke around, we're laughing for a really long time. His laugh is really contagious. There'll be times where we're trying to get him to quit laughing so we can focus, and he'll start laughing, and then I start laughing, and then it's just a ripple effect from there. I also love how caring he is too. He can tell when I'm having a rough day or when I'm upset, and he gives like the best hugs. There was one day I had a rough day and he gave me a hug and he's I love you, and I made my day instantly better.
What about Aaliyah?
She's super creative and she's super smart. She also has a very contagious laugh. Once me and Archer and Aaliyah start goofing around, we either get in trouble because we're being too loud, or we get Dad to start laughing.
So, Archer, what do you love most about Aubrey?
She's really funny. She jokes around. She is gross sometimes. She has toilet humor.
Do you like toilet humor?
Yes.
And what do you love most about Aaliyah?
I love how she's super funny. Hurt is something. She runs down and she takes me to the bathroom now, and it's really cold.
All right, Aaliyah, you've heard the question twice already. Take it away.
Aubrey is super nice. Like, she can tell when when you're having a bad day, and she'll try to help you feel better. And Archer's like super smart and super strong, and he likes to climb up and down the couch, and I'll help him like get up, and then he'll turn around and climb right back down.
That will be really helpful for hockey. Well, we'll wrap things up here. Thank you so much, Aaliyah, Archer, and Aubrey, for taking time to talk with me. The reach of high-quality, meaningful inclusion goes beyond the walls of a classroom. It permeates into the family system and subsequently the community, influencing everyone who is involved. Though rarely noticed by educators and service providers, siblings are strongly impacted. Yet their voices are rarely heard. The sibling bond is like no other. Archer, Aubrey, and Aaliyah provided a glimpse into their relationship, and for that, I am incredibly grateful. Yes, Archer has cerebral palsy, and it has impacted the family in countless ways, but it's just one layer of his identity and the family's identity. I hope this episode helped you see the value of siblings and what they can bring to the conversation around inclusion. Their vision can be a vision for a society that loves their sibling with a disability as much as they do. Don't miss the next episode of the series with Christy Donathan, the director of the Early Childhood Education Department in District 51. We'll talk about her experiences and what it took to create the high-quality, meaningful, inclusive experience Archer and his family had while attending Miss Rochelle's classroom. Thank you for listening to Love is a Classroom, Stories of Inclusion. Please subscribe to the podcast, post a review, and share our episodes. You can follow us at Love is a Classroom on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. If you're a teacher, parent, or advocate who would like to share your story, please go to loveisaclassroom.com, click on Contact, and share a brief summary of your experience. Until next time, choose love, choose inclusion.